I didn't sign up for this. 5 simple words stared back at me from my phone, sitting under a screenshot of our emptied joint account. My name is Maggie, 38, owner of a small auto repair shop in Ashland, Oregon. 4 hours earlier, I'd been sitting in a doctor's office hearing words like lymphoma, treatment options, and survival rates. Stage 2, treatable, but grueling. I called Daniel from the parking lot, my voice shaky but steady. "Meet me at home," I said. "We need to talk." "I'm busy," he replied. "Running errands. Later, okay?" When I got home, half the closet was empty. His suitcase was gone. Wedding photos removed from the nightstand. Then came the text, along with the screenshot showing he'd transferred our savings. $42,000 we'd painstakingly put aside over 6 years into an account only under his name. I stared at the screen, stunned. Slowly I typed, "Take care." Then I set the phone down, poured myself a cup of tea and sat on the back deck, watching the sunset. I didn't cry, didn't throw anything, just let the weight of betrayal settle. The cancer I could fight. This, I had no roadmap. Neighbors noticed me sitting there. Laura from next door leaned on the fence. "Everything okay? Saw Daniel leave earlier with his car packed." "Got some health news," I said. "He didn't take it well." Laura nodded without pressing. "Let me know if you need anything. I made extra soup." After she left, I went inside and pulled out the folder my Uncle Brian had given me. He'd been an estate planner before retirement and helped me with my grandfather's land up north. "Everyone needs their affairs in order," he said last winter, "especially when you're married. Protect each other." I had taken his advice seriously, updated my will, listed Daniel as co-owner on the 1967 Mustang I had restored, and even opened a secondary account for the land sale proceeds. All to protect him, to protect us. Funny how things worked out. I picked up my phone and called Brian. "Remember our talk about estate planning? I need to make changes." There was a pause. "Everything okay, Maggie?" "No," I said, "but it will be." I met Daniel at a friend's wedding in 2014. He was a paralegal at a law firm downtown, charming, witty, handsome. 6 months later, we moved in together. A year after, we married. The first few years were blissful. We saved for a house, found a charming fixer-upper, and poured our energy into it. I handled plumbing, carpentry, refinishing floors, and he chose furniture and paint colours. We posted before and after photos online, calling ourselves a renovation success story. I grew up on a farm outside Medford, my mother raising me and my brother alone after my dad died. Hard work, thrift, and planning were instilled in me. Daniel came from a different world. His parents had given him everything. They didn't understand why he married a small-town mechanic. His father always introduced me as Daniel's wife, not by name. Looking back, cracks formed long before my diagnosis. 3 months ago, Daniel started talking about moving to Portland. Better opportunities, he said. I resisted. My business was thriving. The house nearly paid off. He grew distant, spending more time with friends I'd never met. Then came the small jabs. "Don't you want more than fixing cars?" "My college roommate's husband just got promoted." Sometimes I wonder what if I'd stayed in Seattle after graduation. I ignored them, believing marriages have rough patches. But when I found a business card for a Portland apartment tucked in his jacket, I quietly started updating legal paperwork. 2 weeks later, I went to the doctor for what I thought was a lingering cold. Swollen lymph nodes, blood tests, biopsy. The night before my final diagnosis, we had dinner at our kitchen table. He talked about work promotions. I watched, wondering if he'd notice my fear. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Yeah," I lied. That should have told me everything. 3 days after Daniel left, I started chemotherapy. The first session hit harder than expected. The nurse showed me to a recliner, hooked up the IV. Your ride is in the waiting room. Took an Uber, I said. My husband's out of town. She gave me a sympathetic look. I hadn't told anyone Daniel had abandoned me. Saying it aloud would make it painfully real. When I got home, a casserole sat on the porch with a note from Laura. Made too much. Enjoy. I tried eating, but nausea won. Ended up on the bathroom floor, alone. I called my sister Ellie in Salem. Told her everything. The cancer, Daniel, the money. She wanted to drive up immediately, but I asked her to wait. The next morning, I called the bank. Daniel had emptied our accounts 40 minutes after I'd called him from the doctor's office, before he even knew details, just knew I was sick. Something inside me shifted. Sadness hardened into purpose. I drove to Brian's house, bringing all documents, financial statements, property records. He can't just take your money, Brian said. Joint account, I reminded him. He knew your diagnosis. That's illegal, Brian said, reviewing the records. We spent hours mapping a strategy: titles, land sale, insurance, medical costs. I had to play smart. That night, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Daniel's cousin, Megan. Your husband knew about your diagnosis. He said he couldn't handle it and needed a fresh start. My whole family is shocked. This isn't right. I thanked her, feeling a mix of relief and clarity. 2 weeks into treatment, my body felt like a war zone. The chemo drained me, leaving me weak and dizzy. Yet my mind was sharp, focused on Daniel and the mess he'd left behind. I couldn't just sit back. Not when my life and my future was at stake. Ellie stayed with me every other day, cleaning, cooking, and driving me to appointments. Laura checked in daily. My boss at the shop cut my hours, but kept insurance active. It was a strange mix, physically diminished, emotionally raw, yet financially strategizing like a chess master. I called Brian. We need to act. He's trying to hide the money, transferring it through a third party. Maybe his father is involved. Brian's voice was calm but firm. Maggie, we'll feed them false information, bait him, set a trap, keep documenting everything. The next day, I called Clara, the realtor handling my grandfather's land. I'm considering other options for liquidating assets, I said casually. I knew Daniel had connections in small-town real estate. He'd surely get wind of the call. Then I contacted the investment bank holding a small 401k from my previous job. I'm exploring early withdrawal procedures due to medical bills. The goal? See if Daniel would make a move. And he did. 2 days later, his lawyer sent a letter demanding a portion of any proceeds from inherited property and a fair division of retirement accounts. Brian grinned. He took the bait. Chemotherapy worsened before it got better. I lost weight, hair fell out, nausea dominated my mornings. But I fought. Every day I focused on small victories, showing up to treatment, documenting interactions, keeping my temper under control. Ellie was my anchor. You're stronger than him, stronger than this, and smarter, she said one evening after cleaning the kitchen. I nodded silently, sipping tea. She was right. Daniel had underestimated me, thought a sick, vulnerable wife would fold. The bank reports showed his attempts to access our safe deposit box, home to the house deed, the Mustang title, and grandfather's will. Denied. My key alone controlled access. I called Brian. He's getting desperate, probably realized he left loose ends. Good. Keep the pressure, he said. File the title changes for the Mustang. Close the safe deposit box. Control the narrative. I did exactly that. Closed the box, opened a new one under my name only, went to the DMV, removed Daniel's name from the Mustang title, and each step was deliberate, precise. That night, a new number buzzed on my phone. You changed the Mustang title? That car is half mine. You put my name on it. I froze. How did he know? Only Brian and I had handled the paperwork that day. He has someone feeding him info, Brian guessed. Maybe his father or lawyer. Then we feed them misinformation, I said, a plan forming. Over the next month, I focused on my health and building evidence. Every bank transfer, every text, every letter from Daniel's lawyer was saved, documented, time-stamped. Brian and I kept meticulous notes. The $42,000 withdrawal immediately after my diagnosis, text messages, I didn't sign up for this, and manipulative threats. Witness statements from Megan, Daniel's cousin, confirming he knew of my illness. My attorney, Rachel Chen, reviewed everything. Abandonment, financial fraud, attempted concealment. You've got a rock-solid case. Courts don't look kindly on this. It was strange, sick, weak, scared, but I felt a spark of hope for the first time. Daniel escalated. Certified letters from the bank, attempted removal of my name from joint credit cards, attempts to access the safe deposit box. My attorney advised patience. He's desperate. Let's see how far he wants to push it. Then came a text from a new number. Being childish won't help. You're going through stuff, but I have rights too. Going through stuff? I muttered. Like cancer? I blocked the number. The next chemo session hit me harder than ever. 2 days of vomiting, weakness, fatigue. Ellie stayed the entire time, holding my hand through IV sessions. Then came a twist. Megan, Daniel's cousin, reached out. Daniel told everyone about your diagnosis, but claimed he couldn't handle it. He's trying to start fresh. This isn't right, she said. Her words were a lifeline. Someone knew the truth, someone who believed me. I spent nights planning legal strategy with Brian and Rachel. Every text, bank record, and legal document was examined, plotted, and cross-checked. The trap was ready. One morning, Brian called. We got bank documents. Want to guess? He transferred money to his parents, I guessed. Exactly, trying to hide it, make it harder to trace. Judges hate this. I felt a surge of calm. Daniel's arrogance would be his downfall. He thought I was too weak, too sick, too beaten down. He had no idea I had been documenting everything, preparing every step. Rachel filed our divorce action, attaching every piece of evidence, bank statements, text logs, witness statements, medical documents, clear, undeniable proof. By Friday, Daniel's lawyer requested an emergency meeting. They weren't expecting this, Brian said. They thought you'd take a settlement. They thought wrong. Over the weekend, I rested, focusing on my treatments, regaining strength. Sunday night, another text from Daniel. This is cruel, Maggie. My parents can't return the money now. You're trying to destroy me. Actions have consequences, I typed back. Monday morning arrived with a mix of anxiety and determination. I met Brian and Rachel at Daniel's lawyer's office, a sleek glass building downtown. The plan was clear. Stay silent unless directly questioned. Let the evidence speak for itself. Daniel arrived with his father and lawyer in tow, a confident mask plastered across his face. He looked healthy, composed, like the past months of my suffering were nothing more than an inconvenience. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Rachel spoke first. We have filed for divorce with full documentation of financial abandonment due during medical crisis, concealment of funds, and attempted misappropriation of assets. We request full recovery of the missing $42,000 plus legal fees. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. His father leaned forward. Surely we can reach a reasonable settlement. No, Rachel cut in. Your son transferred his wife's medical emergency fund, attempted to hide it through family, and now claims additional assets. We have all documentation. Daniel's lawyer cleared his throat. What exactly are your demands? Full return of all funds, Rachel said. Relinquishment of claims on the house, the Mustang, inherited land, and retirement accounts. Assume responsibility for legal fees. In exchange, no criminal charges will be pursued for financial fraud and abandonment. The room fell silent. Daniel's father muttered something about fairness. No, Rachel said firmly. Robbery is what your son did. This is justice. The meeting ended with Daniel's lawyer requesting 48 hours to consider the terms. Daniel tried to catch my eye as we left, but I walked past, unflinching. 2 days later, Rachel called. Daniel had accepted all terms. His parents would return the $42,000 within 30 days, and he would sign over all claims to property. It felt surreal. Not like winning, but like closing a chapter I had thought would never end. For the first time since diagnosis, I slept through the night. The nausea eased and my hair began to grow back, patchy but alive. Doctors were optimistic, numbers improving. The settlement arrived exactly as promised, a cashier's check for $42,000. I deposited it immediately, paying down medical bills and focusing on recovery. Julia, the nurse who had supported me through the first treatment, noticed. "You're looking better. Numbers are good." I nodded. Feeling better too, handing over the check to cover my treatment. The divorce finalized a week later. Signing the paper, us was anticlimactic. No anger, no tears, just finality. "What now?" Brian asked as we left the courthouse. "Finish treatment, get better, decide next steps," I replied. He smiled. "The land sale should close next month. Another $68,000. And the Mustang?" "Not yet. Some things I'm keeping for myself a little longer." That evening, I sat on my back deck with a cup of tea watching the sunset. The chemo's worst effects had subsided. Recovery was slow, but my spirit felt lighter. Megan emailed me again, her words a balm. "Daniel's parents are selling their Coeur d'Alene cabin to cover the money owed to you. Some of us understand what really happened. You deserve that peace." I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I was reclaiming my life. 6 months later, my oncologist delivered words I had longed to hear. Complete remission. I sat in her office, absorbing the news. Not cured, lymphoma could return, but for now, it was gone. "What happens now?" I asked. "Regular checkups, scans every 6 months. But for now, Maggie, live your life." That evening, I called Ellie first. Her scream of joy echoed through the phone. Then my friend Joel in Missoula, who had long offered me a spot at his custom auto shop. "Still got room for me?" I asked. "Hell yes. When can you start?" A month later, I sold the house in Ashland and bought a small cabin outside Missoula. 2 bedrooms, a garage large enough for my tools and the Mustang, and mountains visible from every window. Peace at last. On the day I drove out of Ashland, Laura and her husband came by. She handed me a casserole for the road. I thanked them quietly. Support had been quiet, steady, indispensable. "You okay?" Laura asked. "Getting there," I said, eyes on the horizon. 3 months into my new life, a text came from an unknown number. Daniel again. "I heard you're in remission. I know you won't believe this, but I think about you often. I made a terrible mistake. I was scared and selfish. I'm sorry, Maggie, for everything." I read it twice, considered responding. In the end, 4 words. I survived. Be well. Blocked. Phone put away. I went back to the Mustang, not to sell, not for anyone else, just for me, to restore it fully, on my terms. Some things broken can't be fixed. Others, like me, can be rebuilt, stronger than before.